Now we head to East Africa, where the death toll from weeks of relentless rains and floods in Kenya has climbed to 228 as authorities warn of continued crisis conditions. Despite escaping major damage from a tropical cyclone that weakened after hitting land, Kenya and neighbouring Tanzania are still grappling with torrential downpours and the looming threat of further floods and landslides. In western Kenya, the River Nyando overflowed early Sunday, overwhelming a police station, school, hospital and market in Ahero, Kisumu County. While there are no immediate reports of casualties, local police caution that water levels are still rising, with the main bridge outside Kisumu along the Nairobi highway submerged. Now joining me on the news from Kenya to discuss this is governance and public policy consultant Stephen Nduvi. Hello, Stephen. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Thank you for hosting me today.
All right. So reports indicate that the death toll, has now risen to 228. Quite sad. That's as a result of the flood. What else is happening that we don't know?
Thank you. And let me first begin by condoling with those who have been affected by the extreme floods in Kenya. As you have said, the displacement and those who have been killed is quite substantial. And one of the things the floods are reminding us as policymakers is that there is an intricate relationship between, climate change and what is currently happening, and the need for, a systems approach when dealing with the entire issue. I must say that these floods have affected livelihoods to a greater extent. As we talk now, the schools have not been able to open because of the disruptions of the floods. So pupils and students are still at home. Businesses and the transport sector, trading activities have also been adversely affected by the floods. And this necessitates the need for policymakers, especially the government and the private sector, together with the civil society, to come together to one table and plan for lasting solutions to manage floods in the country, since this is not just a phenomena in isolation. In 2023, we had the El Nino, and we also went through the same. But the lessons have not been entirely taken into practice, though we appreciate the level the government has undertaken to, address this crisis.
Okay.
For instance,
yes, Stephen, just before you go ahead, aside, you said you blamed climate change for this crisis and the El Nino phenomenon. But do you think that there are other factors that are responsible for this flood that has claimed so many lives?
Yes, there are other underlying factors because, for instance, I live in the capital city of Kenya, Nairobi, where we have the booming population, where the population is competing with the availability of spaces. So essentially, in the capital city of Nairobi, I tend to connect these serious floods that have taken place in residential areas and even along the public transport infrastructure to inappropriate planning. That is, we have a disconnect between urban planning and the way we are supposed to, envision other effects, like when it rains, where do we channel the rainwater that is flooding all over? So besides that, we also lack awareness on what citizens are supposed to do in case of flash floods that have been happening across the country, because many people, they lost lives as a result of lack of awareness, or perhaps inadequate awareness on how you should behave in times of disasters like the floods we have in Kenya. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Stephen, for joining us and speaking to us on this. We appreciate you for your time.
Thank you so much.